And it is Alive after 5, AM 1260 KLYC. We're broadcasting live from Hopscotch Toys in McMinnville, streaming live on the internet. Go to our website, klyc.us, our Facebook page, KLYC Radio. Hi! Glad you're with us today. With me is Linda Hayes, and Linda is known as the Toy Store Lady. And for 14 years, you've never grown up.
I have never grown up before 14 years, but yeah, I've been playing with toys for 14 years now.
You're as young as you feel. Have you always wanted to be a toy store owner?
Oh, absolutely not. No, toys wasn't really something that I was passionate about. I knew I wanted to have a business in my community, but I didn't know what I was interested in doing. I was thinking more restaurant, and I'm really glad I chose retail because it's a lot easier than restaurant.
Yeah. Now that's going to bring me to my next subject. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you about. You and I have talked about this in the past, and we've in fact talked about it before we went on the air. There's an old saying, it was the best of times and the worst of times, or the most challenging of times. I love technical things. I love the internet. I love the fact that my camera is going sideways here. Hang on just a second. And it's never done that before. Always waits till we go live on the air. Okay, love the internet, love the technical gadgets, but it's a double-edged sword because with the internet, there's so many different ways for people to shop. They can shop online. They can listen to 5,000 different radio stations all over the world. And in the old days, they just listened to the local radio station. Now they can listen to stations in Hong Kong or New York or Boston instead of just KLYC. But we hope they listen to KLYC. Really, we do. But you have the same challenges, is that people can shop online instead of coming to the local store. How do you compete with that? And what do you offer that the folks can't get online?
I compete with that on every level that I can compete with it, but the thing that's most important to me is the relationship that I have with my customers and the investedness that I have in my community. People will say, oh, I love that they have gift wrap, or I love that they have a cat, or that the kids can come and play with the toys, or things like that. But really, it comes down to caring. Like I care about the people that come into my store and the community that they live in, and the city that we're building together is very important to me.
And you get that personal one touch. You were talking earlier today about you shop for your customers. You know what your clients want. And people in Chicago that are ordering for Toys R Us, sorry to use the name, they don't have that feel, that touch, that knowledge of what's going on locally.
Right. I shop specifically for McMinnville, as do all of the local businesses. That's a really important part of doing local retail. We have a lot of disadvantages, but one of the advantages that we have is that we're nimble. We can change really fast. If we see that our customers want to go in a certain direction, we can change relatively quickly compared to the big behemoths. Amazon can change just as fast as I can change because it's got so many small buyers. People like me that own stores across the country are also doing for sale by Amazon. So they have that ability, but with the big boxes and things like that, we've always been able to just be more nimble and stay ahead of it. We can curate our shops to the needs of our local community, to the desires of our local community. And I think it does, I know that the thing that makes McMinnville is our independent businesses. When you go downtown in McMinnville, the reason it's McMinnville is because it's got the specific local shops that have been curated to represent the needs of McMinnville.
And that's one of the reasons why people move from California, move from Portland and the bigger cities to towns like McMinnville, is for the hometown feel, to go downtown and you see the same people. You know them on a first-name basis. You go to Harvest Fresh. You can sit out on the sidewalk and feel safe.
Yeah, I've never met anybody who moved here for our Walmart. So it's definitely for the local businesses, local feel.
Now, one of the things that impressed me, there was an older gentleman, I don't know his name, but he was in buying, I think it was probably a birthday toy or something. and you were helping him, and you really took the time with him and answered his questions and so on and so forth. They don't get that in the bigger stores.
They don't, and a lot of time, and they can't get that online either. You can read so many reviews, but you can't. It's hard to get somebody who can help you. Walk you through the process of why one thing is better than another thing, and what actually ask you questions about the child that you're shopping for. I have it, where that's concerned. That's a huge advantage to me, is being able to get to know the child. And a lot of times I know the child that they're shopping for. So that's a big advantage as well.
Okay. Also, it's kind of like it's kind of like going to grandma's house. Not that you're a grandma or old. Okay. But that you come in and play, you've got the Hokey Pokey music playing in the background. It's kind of like going to grandma's house. You can play with the toys, and you don't get that in the big box stores.
Yeah, I think the word that you're going for here, it's a big buzzword right now, and it's something that local shops have always done really well, or like beating the pants off of everybody else, is an experiential shopping, experience. It's all based around providing a great outing for the kids here. They come through the little door, they play with the cat, they play with the guinea pigs, they go trade things in the fairy chest up in the bathroom. And so there are all of these experiences for them to have along the way that make them. For me, I feel that your camera is pointed at the ceiling again.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. For me, I feel that the camera is pointed at the ceiling again. Oh. This is live. Okay. All right, we got that fixed. I'm glad you're back with us.
Okay. So, but for me, I feel, I feel that local economies are so important to everything that we want to accomplish in smaller communities. Our local businesses are the door for the money to flow into our towns.
Do you need to get that? You can get that if you'd like.
Stop. It's okay.
That's okay. Leave a message if you're calling.
Yeah. So the local shops are the doors for that local economy, for those dollars to come in, and those dollars trickle down to our nonprofit organizations through our local doorways. Everybody talks about the taxes and how the taxes collected in our local businesses are used to support the fire and the police and the library and the schools and all of these things but a lot of times people don't think too about not just the tax part of it, but that those dollars come out and they go to local lawyers and local accountants and local electricians. And, everybody that I hire, everybody that I pay is a member of this community. And when you send your money to Amazon, you are putting it on a raft and shipping it out of this community. It's never going to come back into your pocket. If that's where you're sending it, it's not going to come back to you in the way that money that spins around in a local economy is going to do. So for me, I think it's really important to teach our children to want to have that relationship with their local economies, and I think I'm in a unique position to be able to do that. So providing a great experience for them here and making them feel like they're part of the community and valued is not just something that is fun for me. It's like a mission for me to make them want to be connected to their community through commerce.
It's a big part of why people live here in McMinnville. One of the things that's also kind of cute is as the kids are leaving the store, you ask them if they want to go out the big door or the little door.
Yeah. It always makes them, it's more fun. It's another offer of fun. The last thing that they do when they leave Hopscotch is have a little bit more fun. And it helps the parents because it helps transition the kids out of the store easily. But it's just more fun. It's more fun. It's more fun to go through the little door, even as bigs. Oh,
even as bigs. I guess we're big, right? Will we fit through the little doors right over there?
You just have to duck a little bit. You'll fit.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to try it as we leave today. What are your hours?
We're open from 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and 11 to 5 on Sundays.
Earlier, you were talking about some services you were offering as you were looking at things to offer in addition to toys. Is there any kind of services you're offering, or what do you offer here?
Well, we do. We do birthday parties, and we host special events like Santa and the Easter Bunny, and Queen Elsa came back when Frozen was really a thing. We do contests, like the Lego contest. We do just little events like that. We did some Pokemon for a while, and the kids kind of stopped coming and playing Pokemon, so we're not doing that so much. Birthday parties. I think I already said that. We do birthday bins.
It's interesting that the trends or the fads, like Pokemon was really big and not so much anymore.
It's not. It's kind of goes through spikes and valleys. I personally love Pokemon, and I love having it and supporting it. So whenever there's a surgence in it, I love to support that, because a lot of the kids that really are drawn to Pokemon are the same kids that are drawn to computer games and maybe have harder time socializing with other kids, and Pokemon's a great platform for that, for them to be able to socialize. So I love it for that. I also love it because it's basic math over and over. They have to add and subtract hit points and health, and basic reading too, because they really want to understand what those cards are saying, and so they work really hard at learning to read what's on them.
Okay, Hopscotch Toys. Do you have a website, Facebook page?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on...
we're everywhere.
All the things. Yep.
What's your phone number?
503-472-3702.
Hopscotch Toys. Now, anything new coming up?
Well, nothing new coming up necessarily. We've got a lot new coming in. I just was at a buying show in New Orleans, so was able to place a lot of orders. And this time of the year, we'll go and place orders and bring them in, and it allows us to see what the trends are going to be for the holiday season. The stuff that sells through really fast is good. It's a good indicator of what's going to be exciting for the kids come the holiday season. So,
what's hot now?
What's hot now? Unicorns are so hot now. Unicorns and narwhals and anything glittery. It's harder to place a finger on what's hot with the boys, because Legos are always hot with the boys. Projectile objects are always hot with the boys. Science, things like that. The boys are a lot more predictable, less trendy. The fidget spinners was like the first boy.
Is that still hot, fidget spinners?
Oh gosh, no. It's
That's
not.
so yesterday, Dave.
But it was big. It was the first big trend that I've seen. I like to, I don't like to say it, but I'm kind of resigned to the fact that the West Coast is a lot less competitive and fad oriented than the East Coast. So my East Coast toy store friends will be selling through things like crazy, and the kids are competing and they're collecting them and they want all of them, and those fads really don't hit here in the same way that they hit there. The kids are I like to think that our kids are a little more grounded, and so that's why. But fidget spinners hit big, and it was kind of surprising to me, and it was wonderful too, because there are just a basic little physics toy. It's just all about the centrifugal force and the spin, the velocity, that it's all about science when you get right down to it. So to have the kids into something that was not technology, it was just playing with physics.
Fads are kind of interesting because they're so hot and then they're not. Kind of like disco, where you can't get enough of it and then you can't run from it fast enough.
Yeah. I've run through a few fads. Fidget spinners was the biggest one, but your goal is to get out a product before it's completely done. And we did pretty good with that with the fidget spinner craze. We still have some fidget spinners, and I still think they're a really viable toy. They're they're a great item for a lot of kids, to play with. But I don't think any child needs 12 of them.
No, you only have 10 fingers. So, what's coming up for Christmas? What's hot is coming? I know it's a few months away, but what do you think?
It's a few months away. Everybody is saying, I don't know how they're going to unseat unicorns and narwhals they're really amazing things to have in the spotlight with flamingos and avocados, but apparently it's the flamingos and avocados that are going to unseat the unicorn narwhal trend. So that's big. Robotics is really big. Like they had the buzzword for STEM. Everything was STEM last year, and now they're moving more towards science.
Here we go again. Hi. We need to put a fidget spinner on our camera.
Yeah, so they're moving towards a lot of robotics toys and building your own robots and programming. They're trying to push programming. You're probably not going to see that in my store, but it's supposed to be a thing.
Okay. I think. There we go. We need to have a camera person. So, you had some interesting statistics about Shop Local. Did you want to include some of those numbers?
Yeah, I could say anything. I mean, I know them off the top of my head. You were asking about how the internet is affecting small business, and the number that I keep reading in magazine articles is that.
I'll have you hold this.
Okay. The numbers I keep reading in magazine articles and online forums is that local retail, brick and mortar retail, has grown 2% over the last couple of years, and online has grown 15 to 18%, depending on who you ask. So that's a lot more growth in the online shopping, and that's a trend that I see as a threat. You asked if I'd always wanted to be a toy store person, and I didn't, but I always wanted to be involved in my local economy and making sure that those dollars came in and stayed here, that there was a door for that, because it really is key to the health of a community. It's basic. You keep your money here and your money keeps circulating here. You send it out and it's gone, and that's pretty basic. So that's the. It's estimated that local businesses do spend 250% more in their on their local nonprofit charitable giving than big box stores do. But they haven't even looked at what online retailers do towards local charitable giving, which is zero. It's nothing. You can't sign on for like 0.5% back on your Amazon purchases to your school of your choice, but still that's nothing. We give thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every year to local charities. We do specific fundraisers specific to local charities. And your local business owners also, when you step into any of these organizations in your community that are really turning things around, you'll see the boards just loaded and the volunteer hours just loaded with local business owners and local business people, and that is because the dollars are staying locally. If they weren't, that couldn't happen like that. So that's another thing. People talk about the dollars, but they don't talk about the hours that all of these business people spend on, donate, all the hours that these people donate on local causes. So that's something that's really dear to me. All my statistics, honestly, are about local independently owned stores versus box stores versus the big box stores, because when you get into online and making comparisons, it's like everything and zero, like all of that is done by us and nothing is done by them. So it's not even, the statistics become irrelevant. If you can shop locally in independently owned stores, you're turning those dollars around faster. If you can't, shop locally in Walmart or Bimart or Roth's or any place like that that's local. Those dollars still turn into our economy. They're still paying local Local payrolls, I think, it's just, you think about the way that affects your property value. A lot of people talk about saving, the savings that they get when they shop online. They saved $5 here, they saved $10, they even saved $50 on bigger items or whatever. But if their property values are being undermined because their local economy is not being invested in, if what they're doing is being replicated by everybody, how is that going to make the picture look? And that's what we all really need to think. If everybody were doing what I am doing, what would the picture look like?
And it would, more money here locally spent, it just turns over in the economy, and we put people to work, and we pay local property taxes. Do you see, as you share this message, and you're very active in sharing this message, which is one of the reasons we wanted to come talk to you, do you see the lights come on with both young and old alike, that they hadn't really thought of it?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes people just don't get it, if they're ready to hear the message. It was actually a while before it clicked in with me what the real value of local businesses was. For me, it was very relationship and convenience and help and knowledgeable and about the merchandise and the look and feel of my downtown. It was very much based around that. It wasn't for a lot of years that I started to understand what it meant for us economically. And I think that that's something that we need to talk a lot more about, and we don't talk about very much. We talk about the relationship and how much they like doing business with their neighbors, but we don't talk about how that it directly benefits them, the consumer. They're not giving us a gift by walking into our store instead of shopping online. They are benefiting themselves in every real sense, right on down to the financial, their property values, their schools, everything.
Tell us about Hopscotch Toys. We're going to give you some time here. I'm going to go over here and plug in some power into one of our computers, and just tell us a little bit about your store. Tell us your hours, maybe some specials you've got going on. This is your opportunity to have an ad for Hopscotch Toys.
Okay, all right. Well, I think I already said a lot about Hopscotch. We have to focus on being unique. I focus on having a unique mix of toys. Being a hands-on, being a place that the kids can play with the toys so the parents can see what they like, really being invested in their children and their needs of their children developmentally. I've been part of my National Trade Association for 14 years and served on the board and done a lot to learn about play values and the different stages of child development, and play is just really, really, really crucial to the development of critical thinking and creativity. The Pediatricians Association has said that we're facing a creativity crisis in our youth right now because they're getting a lot of education through the online stuff that they're doing. They're getting a lot of learning, but they're not getting a lot of thinking. They're getting a lot of knowing which button to press and knowing which answer to give. And so what we have here, they're called open-ended toys, which means that 10% of the play comes from the toy and 90% of the play comes from the child and their creativity and what they do with it. You notice most of the toys that are in Hopscotch just sit here until a child picks them up and decides what they're going to be and how they're going to play. And that's a very active decision making on my part as far as buying goes, because blocks and plastic animals and stuffed animals and capes and things like that don't do anything without the kids, and it's really important to developing their brain and their thinking ability.
So the make-believe and the playtime and the action heroes and the playing that kind of thing, and as long as you don't jump off the roof, no kids, you can't fly. That's important to the kids in developing the creative side of them.
Oh, it's so important. They can memorize their letters and their numbers and all of that, anytime, but if they don't develop that ability to think creatively and for their emotional health too, from your own emotional health, and you see it in kids. When you go into that space, into that creative space, whether you're painting or listening to music or playing, it's the same space that we went into when we were playing, when we sit on the floor and visualize these whole worlds with our dolls or with our stuffed animals or our plastic animals or our army guys or our GI Joes or whatever it was that we were playing with. I'm sure you can summon that emotion right now, that feeling that you felt when you did that. That's crucial. That's really important. And so to provide a place where that happens is getting harder and harder and harder, because kids get bored before they get there. Like they squeal about being bored and want to be handed a tablet or have a television turned on for them and to be entertained with external things before they get to that space of really accessing that creative play place.
Interesting, something to think about. So moms and dads, as you're thinking about something for the kids, think about something that's more than just the $60 video game where they're just entertained and they just follow the bouncing ball or follow and some of the graphics are very, very, very good. But there's something about the creative playtime that happens in your mind that doesn't happen on the video game.
Yep. That's pretty much it. So that's when you go in here, and it makes it harder to sell stuff, that doesn't have bells and whistles. There's like zero sex appeal to the, like the kids are not screaming for most of the things that are on my shelves, unless it's fidget spinners. But then again, it's low tech, and that was a fad.
One more time, your website, Facebook page, and phone number.
The website is hopscotchtoys.com. Facebook page is Hopscotch Toys. Instagram is Hopscotch Toys. Phone number is 503-472-3702.
Hopscotch Toys, Hopscotch, and Linda Hayes is the toy store lady located at 103 Southeast Baker Street here in McMinnville. Thanks for being with us today on Alive After 5.
Thank you. Come and see us. Come in through the little door. It's more fun that way.
Okay, you heard it. Coming through the little door, or you can go out through the little door today. We'll go out through the little door as we take our equipment home tonight. So we'll tell you how it goes. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
AM 1260 KLYC, The Cruise. It's Alive After 5, and we'll have here in just a minute. We will take a listen to Kevin Gebhardt and see what the stock market has done today. First of all, we need to check into news from KLYC.